Alright, my name is Wiley Roemer, and my internal assessment was a registry to save records and albums that my dad has accumulated over the years. So, to start out, when you run the program, if you do it through BlueJ, you run it through GUI list, and you right-click and click that. Or if you're running it through the jar file, it does the same way, it opens it through GUI list. So basically what this does is it extends this public class here, Easy App, and when you run GUI list, the constructor basically creates the GUI and lists all the buttons in the list on the user interface, and then this piece of code right here basically allows the buttons, and when the buttons are pressed, it allows me to call the methods that are in the main log class, which has, most of the actual code for this project. So if we go and look at the main log class, the constructor for this basically just creates the array, and the slots in the array are actually, they consist of the fourth class that I have in my project, which is this class, the record entry class. And as you can see, it's just 4 strings: title, artist, year, location, and each slot in the array, in the main log array, is one of these record entries, and it makes it easier to kind of sort them, add them, manage them, move them around, things like that. So if we go back to main log here, so the constructor creates the array, and then you have the search method, which uses a for loop to cycle through all the terms in the array, and I have and symbols here, or symbols here, which basically makes it that it'll match some of the search terms and still return results that you don't need to enter all the search terms to get results back. And I actually have the same thing set up for my delete method. It'll search, and if it finds any entries that match any of the terms, it'll go through and delete them after prompting to make sure they want to delete them. So the add method takes, if you look back in the GUI list class, so here's the source if they press the add button on the GUI, and basically then it takes 4 strings from the user just for the title, artist, year, and location of the album, and like I said, those 4 strings are what end up getting saved in as record entries. So that they get added in, and then it's put into the first empty spot here. You can see if it says if main log I is null and I plus 1 is null, and I have that set up because ideally, if the program is sorted where the last null slot, or where the first null slot is, there won't be any more full slots after that. So this basically just checks to make sure it's the very first null slot after the last filled slot, and we'll add it in. So like I said, the delete method can search through and find just the matching terms, which means areas of input could be left blank, and you can still find the albums you need to look for. And basically, you just put it in, it searches through and deletes what you're looking for, and after it deletes a slot, it'll sort it so it's all nice and presentable. So this is the sort method. I use two for loops, one inside the other, and it basically cycles through all of the entries in the array up until it gets to the null entries, and it compares when you hit the sort button, it asks you to input either name or artist, and so this is this sort if you press name, and this is the sort if you press artist, and they're identical, except obviously one of them sorts it by name and one of them sorts it by the artist name. So it goes until you get to the last slot, and what it does is just compares this either name or artist, the string in that slot, to the slot after it, and it will look at them alphabetically, and if the string after it comes first, it'll move the string in J or in a temporary spot, which you can see happening here, and then it'll move J plus 1 into J, and J plus 1 into the temporary slot. J plus 1 in the temporary slot. So that works for both name and artist. And then finally, at the bottom, we have saved to file and open file. And basically what these do is just, this makes a text file, a local text file in the folder of the program, and it puts in each string from the record entries individually, so on their own line. And I do that because when open file is called, it can go through the file and just look at each line as one, obviously as one string, and it'll go in and it'll save them all in order as record entries. So it saves them in order and then opens them back up in order, so it's all set up when you open your file. And that's about it for the program, and thank you.